15 years. $330 billion to $4 trillion. The Apple Watch. Apple Music. Apple TV Plus. AirPods. The M-chip silicon transition. And a company transformed from the maker of a single iconic phone into one of the most valuable institutions in human history. Tim Cook is stepping down. Apple announced Monday, April 20th that Cook will leave the role of Chief Executive Officer on September 1, 2026, transitioning to Executive Chairman of Apple's Board of Directors. His successor, confirmed unanimously by the board, is John Ternus, currently Apple's Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering. The transition, Apple said, follows a thoughtful, long-term succession planning process. Cook took over from Steve Jobs in August 2011. Jobs died of pancreatic cancer 6 weeks later. At that moment, Cook inherited a company that many in the industry found impossible to separate from its founder, a company whose identity was so deeply entangled with a single personality that the question of whether it could survive without him felt genuinely open. Apple's market capitalization at the time was $350 billion. What followed was one of the most consequential runs in corporate history. Under Cook, Apple became the first US company to hit a $1 trillion valuation in 2018. It later reached $2 trillion, then $3 trillion. It currently stands at approximately $4 trillion. Cook expanded Apple's product lines into entirely new categories. The Apple Watch, introduced in 2015, became the best-selling watch on Earth. He built Apple's services business, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, iCloud, the App Store, into a revenue engine generating tens of billions of dollars annually. He navigated trade wars, supply chain crises, a global pandemic, and the most aggressive regulatory scrutiny Apple has ever faced. He did it without being Steve Jobs. And that, in retrospect, may be the achievement. Now the baton passes to John Ternus. Ternus is 51 years old, almost exactly the age Cook was when he became CEO. He grew up in California, studied mechanical engineering at the University of Pennsylvania, competed on the varsity swim team, and graduated in 1997. After a brief period designing virtual reality headsets at a small firm called Virtual Research Systems, he joined Apple's product design team in 2001. By 2013, he was Vice President of Hardware Engineering. In 2021, when his predecessor Dan Riccio stepped aside to oversee the Vision Pro project, Ternus was promoted to Senior Vice President, becoming the youngest member of Apple's executive team at the time. He has spent 25 years at Apple. He has been involved in nearly every major hardware product the company has shipped in that period. Cook himself described Ternus as a brilliant engineer and thinker, obsessed with every detail, focused on every possible way we can make something better, bolder, more beautiful, and more meaningful. The appointment is significant in what it signals about Apple's direction. Cook was an operations expert, a supply chain genius who scaled Apple's manufacturing and distribution to a level the industry had never seen. Ternus is a product engineer. Apple, with this appointment, is placing a hardware mind at the top of the company at a moment when the next great hardware challenge, artificial intelligence integration, spatial computing, whatever comes after the iPhone era, is the defining strategic question. Arthur Levinson, who has served as Apple's non-executive chairman for 15 years, will become lead independent director on September 1st. Ternus will join Apple's board on the same date. Two senior executives, Johnny Srouji and Kate Marib, will take over Ternus's hardware engineering responsibilities during the leadership transition. Cook addressed the Apple community in a personal letter published Monday. He wrote about the emails he had read every morning for 15 years, from Apple users around the world, sharing how the company's products had touched their lives. He described the CEO role as the best job in the world.